The Pass is Cannonborough-Elliotborough's locally focused deli market, offering sandwiches, meat and cheese trays, and more. Today, I talk with the owner and chef of The Pass, Anthony Marini, for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook.
Chef Anthony Marini, welcome to Charleston.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yes, you are the owner and chef here at The Pass, which is a tremendous sandwich shop here in Charleston. What's new, what's now here?
What's new, what's now here? Well, we have a bunch of things that are going to be coming up soon. First, we have the sandwiches that we've always had since we've opened back in late July. The Italian Boy, the LTO No, the Fall Pass. But we also have some new things coming up where we're going to be adding different wines and different wines by the glass. We certainly have a small list of all natural wines and biodynamic wines that we already have here at the restaurant.
Who is Anthony Marini right now? From July to right now?
It's an evolving process. It's one of those things where I didn't come in here with a plan to do this. I thought I was going to come here, do a more traditional type restaurant. Actually had my eye on a couple of other spots. For whatever reason, they didn't work out, and found this and decided to do something a little bit different than I'm normally used to.
What are you used to, Anthony?
Well, I've spent almost 30 years, I'm dating myself, but almost 30 years in fine dining. I've owned 3 other restaurants, 2 in Birmingham, Alabama, and 1 in Philadelphia. And just that's been my life, working in New York, Phoenix, Los Angeles. I've never had a sandwich shop. I've never had a retail operation.
Wow. What more have you learned about basically a brick and mortar store like this?
Well, this is a different type of brick and mortar store. A restaurant I'm used to. I'm used to the hours. I'm used to, closing in between lunch and dinner.
Yes.
Here, you have people coming in, wanting to shop for wine, wanting to shop for different foods that we have. A lot of people come in for the sandwiches. So, in terms of brick and mortar, this is a much different brick and mortar space.
What is fine dining today?
Fine dining is evolving. It used to be a lot of pomp and circumstance, a lot of pageantry involved with fine dining. Now you get some incredible food in some of the smallest places. It's more casual. It used to be you had to walk in with a jacket and tie to be able to eat fine dining food. Now you can go in jeans and a t-shirt and still get really, really interesting, well-prepared, well-thought-out meals.
What are those thought-out meals that resembles you as a chef?
Say that one more time.
What are those thought-out meals that resembles you as a chef?
Well, I think what that means to me is that you have to really think about, how you want to change things up. You can't say too stale. We do our chef's dinners. Oh, sorry. We do our chef's dinners in the evening.
Yes.
And with those, we change the menus all the time. So, like I said, it's ever evolving.
Ever evolving. Speaking of space, you said this on your website. 700 square feet never tasted so good. What does this taste like right now?
It tastes like I need more space. Like I said, this was a big chance that I took. Just coming into a space like this, it does not have a kitchen. It does not have a traditional exhaust hood. The cooking that we do, which is minimal, but the cooking that we do is done with a convection oven, induction burners. I use sous vide in my techniques. So it's a space that definitely needs more space, and we're looking at other spaces around the city right now.
What's ideal right now in this city for your space?
Well, obviously something with more of a traditional kitchen, something where you can be able to cook things, be able to do more with the more space that you have. There's not a lot of that in the city because there's a lot of great chefs out there doing a lot of great things. So not a lot of room in terms of finding that type of space.
Which Charleston chef do you admire?
You know what? I know very few of them only because I've been here only since May. I have to say though, I haven't had a bad meal in Charleston. I've enjoyed chubby fish. I've enjoyed the ordinary. I've enjoyed Oku. Really, great meals I've had in those places. The service professionals that come in here and eat before their shift or get food to take out, that's the thing that's made me the most proud. And we've had a lot of restaurants that have done that, and I'm thrilled about that.
Wow.
I always want to support my own.
How do you support your own now?
A lot of listening. This industry was tone deaf for a long time in terms of what they were offering employees. So it takes a lot more listening right now in terms of being an employer, and you just have to do that. You have to be able to roll with what's going on today, and people need more, people expect more, and you want to be able to give more.
What do people need more, and what can you give more?
Well, I think just a respect that has been lacking for many years. It was always the higher tier, and then everybody else. And that's a shame, because we've lost a lot, especially now through this pandemic. We've lost a lot of really, really good people who basically said, I don't want to do this anymore because of the way I was treated. So,
what are you listening to when it comes to the restaurant, well, the food and beverage industry, I should say?
You're listening to every story that, sadly, you hear from quite a few people about, again, how they were treated, how they were marginalized in this industry, whether it be minorities, whether it be women, and again, that's what you're listening to, so you have to respond to that.
What is the game changer when it comes to that?
I wish I had the magic pill that says, do this and everything will be okay. Unfortunately, everybody's business is different. I'm fortunate in that I have only a few employees, where there's places that have teams of 20 and 30 employees that they have to satisfy.
Yes, sir.
We keep our team tight. I try to take care of them. I certainly listen to them with what they want and what they need to be an employee here, and what they want in order to be successful.
What do they need and what do they want to be on your team?
I think they want respect. I think they want to be heard and to be listened to. More money always helps. And I think that's the crux of it. Just being able to have a good condition in which to work in and not feel like it's a drudgery going into your job.
Yes, indeed. What is that condition at your restaurant?
I think I have a wonderful restaurant to come work in. I mean, I've never been the happiest person outwardly. However, I think that when I talk to my staff, I'm asking them what they think. I'm asking them what they want. And when I have initiatives that I want to bring to the restaurant, I'm asking their opinion about what they think, if it will affect them negatively, positively.
What are those initiatives that you want to bring there to this restaurant right now? We want to keep doing what we're doing. We think we're doing a pretty good job. I mean, I don't have the end all be all. There are a lot of great chefs in this town, a lot of great people in this town that are doing some awesome food. We're doing what we're doing. We have good sandwiches during the day. We have an interesting concept at night. We talk to everybody, and we listen to all of our guests. Speaking of which, Anthony, how do you adapt your restaurant business to the needs of the customers?
You have to be all about the guest and all about the customer. I don't ever have to adapt to them because that's what the crux of my business is and what it was when I started. So, whether I was selling hot dogs or ice cream cones or whatever, taking care of the guest has always been the most important thing in any restaurant I've wanted to be a part of. And that's what you do first. So I don't have to adapt to anything. The guest is paramount.
and that's what pays our bills.
Absolutely. What are the needs of those customers?
Like I said, I think they want to be heard. I think they want to feel like they're being taken care of. I've gotten to know a lot of my guests personally. I'm sorry. I've gotten to know them personally. I've gotten to know about their families. They've found out about things about me personally and my family. I've gone out socially with some of our guests, out to dinner, out to places. So it's been very welcoming.
What more have you known about Charleston?
Well, being that I just got back from Philadelphia, the weather is much nicer. No, I think this is a great small town. It's an incredible food town. There's a lot of people here who I really like and enjoy and like being around. It's the first place in a long time for me that I've moved where I've said, wow, I really, really like everything about where I'm at.
Wow. And speaking of which, obviously you are a Philadelphia native, and on your website it says Anthony graduated from the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York. Starting his formal career in his hometown, Anthony has been lucky to do everything from working in fine dining restaurants across the United States to education and consulting to running his own businesses. Consulting and education. How did you educate and consult people about fine dining today?
Under promise and over deliver. I think that, again, whether you're selling hot dogs or you're selling foie gras, the way you're taking care of your guests is really important. And in that fine dining environment, if fine dining rules can be applied to any business, how you take care of the guest, from the minute they walk in the door to the minute they leave, I think that can apply to any business, whether it's a restaurant or a hardware store.
Right, absolutely. Speaking of which, what type of supply chain interruptions has your restaurant had to endure?
Well, I'm lucky that I have about a 12-item menu. So there have been a few interruptions just in terms of a particular meat that we want to get, or a particular cheese. Wine has not been that big of a problem, but in terms of my nighttime operation, we have had to be able to go.
Oh, that's perfect. I can.
You're gonna cut it. In terms of my nighttime operation, I remember when I started it, I was going to have like one menu for 6 weeks, and we just simply couldn't do that because ingredients had to change because we couldn't get certain ingredients. Supply chain is definitely a problem, and probably the smallest problem for me. I'm sure it's a lot bigger for a lot bigger restaurants.
Yes, indeed. And after years of working in restaurants, toiling over plates coming out of the kitchen, I know you had to start thinking. What was that moment when you started thinking, I want to try something else?
I don't know that it was a conscious moment. I think when you're doing food, you're constantly thinking of different things.
Yes.
I've always liked sandwiches. I always wanted to do sandwiches. I always thought I would do it as part of an operation that always had fine dining. So again, a more traditional restaurant, it may have had this certain part involved. I didn't think it would be all on its own. But that's kind of where we're at with it. I just said, you know what? Let's do some sandwiches. Let's do some fun things.
And I want to go back to, obviously, it's supply chain interruptions. What are those other supply chain interruptions do you feel will happen next?
You know what? That's a hard one. I think with prices going up for a lot of different foods, you have the problem that more foods will be harder to get.
And I know that you obviously want a small place to do something really good sandwiches. Where was that small place that had really good sandwiches before the pass?
Well, I come from a town where we have a lot of great sandwich shops. I often say that when people ask me, they know I'm from Philadelphia, they ask me, well, where do you get a cheesesteak? Or they'll tell me about a place. If I'm not in Philadelphia, oh, well, we have the best cheesesteak here this is the best place. I don't eat a cheesesteak outside of the city of Philadelphia, ever, because I believe that sandwich is indicative to that town. With that said, I come from a town where, there's a lot of great sandwiches, a lot of, small mom and pop shops that do a lot of really good things.
What are those good things in Philadelphia that you hope will come to Charleston, as far as those mom and pop shops?
Well, hopefully I can bring them here at my place, but, we have a pepper spread that I get from South Jersey. We use, a lot of mortadella here, which a lot of people who actually I've seen from New York, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey who have migrated here said, no, we can't find mortadella. Nobody has mortadella. So, we have things here that I think I can get, in other places in South Jersey and Philadelphia.
What are those recipes from Philadelphia that you want to showcase at the Charleston Wine and Food Festival in March?
To be honest, I'm going to do a menu with Jim Smith of Top Chef Charleston.
Oh, yes.
Jim and I worked together years ago. He's a great friend, and we're actually putting a menu together that is kind of showcasing what he does down in the Gulf, down in Mobile, Alabama, and then I'm bringing a little bit more of the north, to here. So in that menu, so we're actually putting that together as we speak.
What does Charleston Wine and Food mean to you?
It was the one thing I wanted to do when I opened this restaurant. I got in touch with them immediately. They were very responsive. I think the relationship that I've had with them so far has been really positive.
Yes.
And I can't wait to be a part of the event.
Yes, that's going to be big up there at Riverfront Park. You also said this on your website. You said, falling in love with Charleston gave you a perfect setting. Not quite wanting to give up on your fine dining roots, you came up with an idea, and that idea obviously is the past.
Sure.
Why Charleston? Why now?
I was going to open up a restaurant I was the chef of a restaurant that I was going to take over and buy right outside of Philadelphia. That was about 4 or 5 days before the pandemic. So that obviously didn't happen because of the pandemic, and because the north was closed, the south was open. I went down to Atlanta because I knew people down there. They needed help. I went down there to work. I met my girlfriend, my now girlfriend, who at the time was visiting her home in Atlanta from Charleston, and she kept bringing me to Charleston, and on vacation, and I would come for little trips, and really saw what this town was, and just the fact that you have this great little city with a lot of great restaurants and a lot of fun things to do, and then you could be at a beach, within 10 or 15 minutes. That was very attractive.
Wow. What else is attractive about Charleston from the food scene?
Well, I think that's just it. I think the food scene is very attractive. You have a lot of really great chefs here. You have people doing these really interesting pop-ups. The reason I thought that this would be interesting to do in this space was you have all these really, little boutique-y spaces, Chez Nous being one of them, that, does this small menu, and they knock it out of the park. I knew that something at this size wasn't going to be a bad thing. So,
speaking of pop-ups, let me ask you, will you ever have a food truck?
No, I will never have a food truck. Just not something I want to do. But in terms of a pop-up, I mean, I love doing pop-ups. I love doing, events like that where, you get to kind of go off your norm.
Yes.
But, definitely.
Wow, and I know the past is obviously Cannonborough-Elliotborough's locally focused deli and market offering sandwiches, trays of meat, cheese, and seafood and unique provisions. Yeah. What are those foods that are locally focused?
Well, we have different retail products that we use that come from different purveyors within Charleston.
Wow. Which one is your favorite?
I'm not going to answer that question.
And speaking of which, let's talk about this table. By night, one table, 8 courses. The chef table at the Pass is the most intimate of dinner parties. The entire space is yours and yours alone for 6 to 12 guests. The chef's table is truly an interactive multi-course experience booked by reservation only. What is the biggest difference about that multi-course experience?
Well, it's just a fun way for people to eat food, see it being prepared in the kitchen. We actually, it's a bit of a joke, but I don't do it, but we tell them that we lock the doors from the inside so that nobody else can get in, so it's just their room, it's just their restaurant. We've been very fortunate with the reservations. I thought I would do this once a week. I thought, no one will get really excited about it. I'll just do it, and it'll be a fun way for me to cook food. We ended up opening the reservations up in late September for early October, and within 2 weeks of opening up the reservations, we had booked out all of 2021.
Wow.
So we're actually retooling the chef's table a little bit. We're actually still including this table. We'll also be including some counter seating, and we'll be having some different things done with the menu that are going to shorten it, but also still make it pretty plentiful.
How do you shorten the menu by retooling this experience?
That you'll have to find out when you come in. I think that in terms of what we plan on doing, it's just definitely it's what we figured out was what works for this space. 8 courses. Of course, I love doing tasting menus, but at the end of the day, with this space, it was a little much. So we needed to reduce what we were doing so that we could do everything better.
Speaking of which, what is the quality of life in this neighborhood here?
I think this is a great town. I think this is a great part of town. I'm friends with many of the business owners. Tiny Tassel, people over at Warehouse. The Airbnb lifestyle is big down here in the spring and summer. So we get a lot of people from all over the place. So you're not only getting locals, but you're getting people from other parts of the world.
What one of your sandwiches does the locals actually like?
Such a Nice Italian Boy is our most popular sandwich.
Wow. What sandwich describes you?
Such a Nice Italian Boy. So, and I don't normally like to put names on things. I'm not big with that, but we just felt that it worked for this space.
And speaking of this space, Anthony, let me ask you, how did the past meet Cannonborough-Elliotborough?
I don't know. Understand.
How does this meet this neighborhood? The past. How does this meet this neighborhood?
Well, I think it meets. I think it's a great addition to the neighborhood. You have all these little small stores and small restaurants that make up what this section of town is.
And what will this section of town be in the next 5 years?
One can never tell. I think that there's a lot of talk about what. I think there's a lot of. One can never tell. I think there's a lot of talk about things moving off of the peninsula. Obviously, people who own businesses in the city would like to see the business stay here. So you never can tell what will come of what happens here.
Anthony Marini, thank you so much for your time. And again, welcome to Quintin's Phillips.
Thank you very much. Pleasure.
Yeah, welcome.